Let me fill you in. Now we are on an absolute roll this week. We've started our other series with Dr. Cecil, where we built him an arm with moving fingers, and I quickly ran you through his moving eyebrow mechanism. We also began Betsy here, our lovely puppet that we're building from scratch. We finished her head, and I think she deserves a neck and a torso, so we're going to go ahead and build her a body today. Right, so we're going to start with her body, and this is a really good time to express your character. You can literally go for any shape, and if you can't find a pattern that floats your boat, you can make one yourself, because the shape can change everything about the character. So pick the body that suits you best. Disclaimer time, I use a mixture of very professional and incredibly unprofessional methods to make my puppets. If you see something that works for you and you want to do that, go for it. If you can think of another way to do it that you prefer, do that too. This is just how I do it, on a budget with not much available at all. I'm gonna go with one of my favorite shapes. It's so simple and it's so easy, and I think it's great to start with. So this pattern is by Adam. I'll link it down below. Adam has since very sadly passed away, so his website might be down. Someone has very nicely put a link to all of his PDF patterns, which are completely free, so I've linked that down below. See if it works, let me know. I love this shape. It's so easy, it's so simple, and it gives a lovely broad chest. It's the same one I've used here for Dr. Cecil. It's also really easy to make your own. You can see how simple this shape is, and whatever you've got in your mind's eye for the puppet that you're building, you can literally just create any shape that you want. So we're going to cut this one out today using my wonderful methods, and what I've got here is some foam that we've got left over. I'm drastically running out. So what we're going to do is grab your pattern, draw it twice and cut it out. Now I have had a lot of mixed reviews about the sound of the Sharpie gliding across the foam. Some people say it's the best sound they've ever heard and it tickles their ears, all ASMR-y, and some people have found it horrifying and have asked me to never do it again. So I'm really sorry if you're dreadfully affected by the noises that I'm making. So I've drawn it out and now I'm going to cut it out, and you can cut it out exactly on the line. So we've cut out both of our body shapes and it is time to put them together. Now if you've been following along with her head, you know what's to come, and it is barbaric. Because the big strong glues are very toxic and bad, you need a lot of ventilation, and I don't have that in my flat. Basically, so paranoia doesn't hit me like a train, I glue it together with fabric glue, put needles through it to keep it in place, and then sew it together afterwards so I can rest easy. If you've got a big boy strong glue or a better way to put it together, please do that. But this works for me every time, because when I sew it together, I know full well she's not going anywhere, and that's what I really want to get across from this, because you don't know what these puppets are going to be doing, and if we're not using the right things to make it in the first place, we want her to be as durable as she possibly can be. Okay, so now we've cut these out, we're going to connect them together. So you remember when we were making the head and we had to leave a gap open for the neck hole and the mouth hole? We're kind of going to do the same here. So basically what you're going to want to do is connect it only up to about here, and on the shoulder line and a little bit of the arm line you're going to leave a gap, and that gap is for an arm to be shoved through when we eventually get to making them. So you're going to sew all the way up to here, leave a gap, come back at the shoulder, sew a little bit of the shoulder together, and then here you're going to leave another gap, ideally quite large for the neck hole, because you've also got to think when you eventually come to operate, you're going to have to fit whatever the width of your arm is through this hole. So make sure it's nice and roomy. Just make it as wide as you need to make it, because the priority will be getting your arm in there. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of what I would do. So I get my fabric glue and I go all the way from the gap that I want to leave for the arm, and I go all the way down, and then I lay that flat for this first side, and I get some pins that are already covered in glue and ruined, and I push that through the gap, so I'm allowing that fabric glue to catch on as much as it can. And then what we would also do is do the same to the other side and connect it together. But as you know, my methods are a bit whack and I have no respect for them. So I've done a blue Peter and I've made one already, so I don't have to put you through my hideous process of combining it, because I usually like to let it sit overnight so the glue can really dry out before I sew it. So here's one I made earlier. You can see she's got enough room for my arm to go through here, and we've got a little hole each side for our arms to go in. If you've made it too small, or you've forgotten to leave a gap, don't worry. When we eventually go to put the arms in, you can easily just rip that apart, make it a bit bigger, and then stitch it up when you stitch the arm in. So don't worry too much if your gap isn't to your standards. The most important thing with the gap is to try and make it as even as possible. When we put the arms in, like we did with Dr. Cecil here, if you've got one opening up here and one opening down there, it makes for quite a wonky looking guy, unless that's what you're going for. But just try and make sure as much as you can that these gaps are similar. So we can already kind of get a sense here of what her body's going to look like. Make sure your arm can fit through comfortably, but she does need some skin, so we're going to do that next. So we've got her lovely rusty fabric here, and we're going to be carrying on with that. With the material pattern, it's basically the pattern you use for your body, just a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to use the same pattern that I've been using here, except when I draw, I'm going to draw just slightly over the original pattern line, just to give it a tiny little bit of room. It doesn't need much at all, and that will fit over it very nicely. So in terms of fabric that you're going to use for your puppet, you can use any fabric you want. Dr. Cecil's was £1 from a clearance bin, but typically puppets are made with Nyla fleece. It's kind of like a nylon fleecy thing. Unfortunately, it is no longer sold in the UK, and every retailer is American, and it's cost like £70 to get it shipped overseas. So I use polar fleece. It's not as forgiving as we know, and you can see sort of seam lines and things, but when I typically don't have another choice, polar fleece is the go-to, and it is actually available in the country of my origin. So I use polar fleece, but I would love eventually to get my hands on Nyla fleece. It's just a little bit more texturized and it looks a lot more puppety, but due to forces I can't control, we're using polar fleece. I have linked the fleece that I use down in the description below for your perusal, and if anyone has any contacts of a UK distributor of Nyla fleece, please let me know. So we've got our body pattern here, and I'm drawing it out in a place that I've got a really nice gap if I wanted to have a little bit of extra room. I'm going to weigh it down with a couple of glue bottles so the pattern doesn't move as I draw it. As I draw it, I'm just going to go a little bit beyond the pattern itself. You don't need crazy amounts of room, only a tiny bit. Basically, it's just enough to make sure that it can fit over our skeleton foam model, but not compress it in, because if you make it too tight, you'll lose the structure because it will just sink in. So what you want to do is give it enough room to open up its lungs and breathe. And it's always important to double check and remember when using polar fleece, this is the smooth side and this is the bumpy side, and we want the bumpy side to be on the front and show off. So always draw your pattern on the smooth side. And remember as well, as you cut it out, just leave a small gap so we've got a little bit of a sewing line when the time comes. So we've cut out our patterns, and because my sewing machine can't sew through anything thicker than an atom, I'm going to hand stitch this today. So we're going to line up each corner on the pattern and pin that together so we have a bit of an idea where we're going to sew. I'm going to stick the pin through the corner point, and then I'm going to come to the other side where our pattern's also drawn, and I'm going to stick the pin through that corner point, and then I'm gonna bring the pin down that line we've drawn and make sure it's going through the line on both sides so we can get an idea through the overhang of where our real pattern actually is. Same for the straight at the top as well, just pin it through the line that we've drawn. Because I'm not a skilled sewer, I like to get my piece of thread that I've cut, fold it in half, tie the two loose ends together so that we get a little knot structure, because I just don't know how people put in a bit of string and it stays there. I need a knot. So I tie a little knot in those two loose ends, and with this loop here, I push the loop through the eye of my needle and I bring that out, and then I push my needle back through the loop and bring that down so that she is secure and we don't have to knot this end, because I'm fine with knotting that end, but if you knot this end, it kind of gets stuck every time you sew it through. So this just ensures that she's staying there and she's not coming undone. So I'm going to start by doing what we did with the pins and pushing the needle into the point of both corners of the pattern, bringing that through. And now it's here, we can take that needle out. And the stitch we're going to use, again, is incredibly simple. You're literally just going in and out, in and out. So we're going to push it through, make sure it's on the line on both sides, pull it through like this and go back in. Make sure it's on the line again on both sides and bring it round, and rinse and repeat that method until you get to where you need to go. Remember, again, we're going to leave a gap here for the armholes and we're going to leave a gap here for the neck hole. So once you've got to about here, stop and start again in the other areas. You join me at the end of stitching and I've sewn her skin together. You can see here that I've left a gap for the arms, and I've left another gap for the neck. So do remember to do that. If you haven't remembered to do that, it's totally fine. You will just have to tear it apart and start again. So what we're going to do now is put this on this. It is a bit fiddly and a bit tight, but we will get there in the end. The main thing is to get it actually on, and then we can refine it and move it around to where we're happy with it. Put your arm in, hold onto the foam, and just pull back the fleece with your other hand. And now it's on, we can just fiddle around and move it to its correct place. Make sure as well that your foam isn't all tight and sucked in. Just bounce it out a little bit and plump it. So this is our body on. Eventually, when we put the neck into place and actually secure it, we're going to be curving over these edges into the foam to hide it a little bit, but we don't have to do that yet, and we're not going to do that for a while. So we can already get a little taster of what she's going to look like now. I really like the shape of it, and I like the chest, but she does need a little bit of coverage here, so we're going to give her a neck now. Oh, she's just sitting so nicely. She's looking so good. Okay, right, we've got our lovely material, and we're now going to cut out a neck pattern. Whatever skull pattern you've used should come with a neck pattern, but if it doesn't, you kind of want something with a bit of a curvature, because this will be the front chin. You can see how my neck goes up in real life, and that's basically what the pattern is. If you remember, when we made Betsy's face, we mirrored her face pattern to avoid a seam line here, and that's what we're going to do again with the neck. You're going to draw one like this and one like that on the line, so you don't have a gap when you put them together, and you don't have a seam going all the way down her neck. You'll only get a seam at the back of her neck. I do love a seam line, but if we can avoid it, I absolutely will. So we're going to draw it out now. I'm just going to do a little line where I want to connect my other side. Editor Luna here. I've been a bit of an idiot. As you can see very clearly when I'm talking to you, I'm literally telling you the shape of my neck, and it says on my pattern, mirror this side, but I've mirrored this side by mistake. I want you to know that I didn't put that on the puppet because I did secretly Blue Peter a neck. So she's got the right neck, but the neck I drew out and displayed to you is the wrong way around, and I've mirrored the wrong side. So what you're meant to do is draw out the pattern, and where it says to mirror it, you flip it over and you mirror it there. You don't mirror it on the bit that it doesn't say to do that. You mirror it on the mirror line. And this part of the pattern will be the front of the neck. And we're now back to our regularly scheduled programming with the pattern, so I know where to go. And then I'm going to flip it so it's sat exactly on that line that I've just drawn. I'm going to repeat the pattern on the other side. Okie dokie. So we've got our neck cut out here, and we're going to connect these two edges together, basically, so it will form like that. Make sure as well that whatever neck pattern you're making can cover your arm really nicely, because your arm will become the neck when we operate her. So I'm going to fold it where I can see the pattern, and really easy, much like how we did the body here, is I'm going to put a pin through every corner on each side, and the only side for this neck pattern that needs to be sewn up at the minute is this long bit. Don't sew this bit yet, because this will become 3D and be going around her actual head, so leave that bit open at the top. We just want to sew up this back bit here. Okay, so I've stitched that up, and we've got a lovely little seam there, and we're going to turn it outside in so we can attach it to our puppet head. So we've stitched up that back seam of our neck. If you wanted to, you can leave it open and sew around the head first. It might make it a little bit less finicky, but it's still going to be finicky. So I like to sew the back of the neck first, just so I can get that seam a little bit more perfected, because this is going to be tricky anyway. So I'm going to start with the neck here, and you see this line here that I've drawn is the line where I mirrored both of our patterns, and I want that mirror line to connect with her chin. So it's really important that this line here that I've drawn connects with the line of the seam in the face pattern that we've got here. So I've pinned those bits together, and I'm going to start to sew around, and I'm going to make sure that when I put the needle in, much like we've been doing with all our other bits, is that I put it in the line on both sides. So I'm going to push the needle through here on this line, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to make sure it's coming out on the line of that pattern as well. I'm just going to take my time with it. It is a bit fiddly and a bit tricky, so relax, no pressure, no rush. You're doing so well. Take your time and just really make sure that that needle is traveling through both lines on each side, so that we get a nice even line when we're finished. And you can see already that we've got our stitch here, and because we've kept it on both lines as we've gone along, it's really nice and even. So we're going to try and keep that energy going. As we go around, obviously it's going to get a little bit trickier, because we're going to have to fold the neck in like this as we go, but for as long as you can, just try and keep it parallel like that, and go in and out, just like we've been doing, for as long as you can. And we'll cross that bridge of difficulty when we are forced to get there. This is probably the fiddliest bit that you're gonna have for the whole puppet experience. So if you can get through this, we can get through anything. I've got just about as far as I can get around with doing that method, but now I've got this hole here that needs to be secured. And I've got one of these little clip things. I did have a bag, but they snap so easily, but I've got one and I salvaged her. And what we're gonna do is here on our fabric line, you can see where we've drawn, I'm gonna curl in the fabric that we've got here so it's sitting on the line. And I'm gonna do the same with the fabric over here. I'm gonna curl that in. And then I'm gonna put those two curled bits together and I'm gonna snip it in place like that. If it feels better, put your hand in here so you can hold it tight yourself. This is definitely the fiddliest bit, and once we've done that, we're gonna be all good to go. So I've kind of folded the neck inside out as much as I can, so I can just get that last little bit of seam line. So we can see here the lines that we've drawn earlier, and we're just gonna keep going in and out on the line on each side until we've completely sewn up the hole. Get as much accuracy on that line as you can. Make sure that both bits are going through that line that we've sewn. I've just finished the trickiest bit of the entire puppet build. We're just going to cut that off and bring her back out. And there we have it. So I brought her back out and here's her neck, all nice and fresh. It doesn't have to be perfect. You won't really even notice the neck at all when she's got all of her garb on. So don't panic if you haven't done it perfectly. It is okay. Generally speaking, I think it's a good idea to leave the neck separate from the body and have that connection be one of the last things you do, just in case any clothes or anything you put on it gets in the way a little bit. So here is Betsy, complete with a neck and a body. We're going to keep them separate for now, but here she is. I think she's looking great so far. You can see here that her neck is really long and nice, and that's going to be great for when she's operated. Let me know what you prefer, because in our next session I was going to put some ears on and maybe her face on, but I can also maybe do her hands or her feet as well. Just let me know what you prefer to see first. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Betsy's body. If you haven't joined us before and you want to know how to make her head, I've already done an episode on that. And we're also working on our puppet up here, Dr. Cecil. We most recently made him a hand, and I quickly took you through his mechanisms for moving his eyebrows. If that's something that is interesting to you and you'd like to learn more about puppetry, please subscribe and ring that bell so you can see when I release a new episode. I hope wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you're having a lovely day, and I shall see you on the next one. Thank you so much for joining. Goodbye.